3 years ago, I had a very profound and mystical experience, one that shook me to the core. It was an encounter with the spiritual presence of Harriett Tubman. At that time, I was struggling to accept my mediumship abilities, wrestling with self-doubt, and I was unknowingly shackled by invisible chains, debt, relationships, and belief systems that kept me compliant and very afraid. As I sat in meditation seeking clarity, I heard her voice whisper, "You are more enslaved than I ever was." "How?" is what I said. "You were literally for sale." The reply, "And you were not?" In an instant, images flashed before me, my attachments, fears, and comforts that I'd mistaken for security, my choices of employment. I saw how I'd bound myself, sold my authenticity down the river, not with iron chains, but with choices that kept me small and very weak. That moment changed me. Suddenly, I started noticing Harriett Tubman's face everywhere, in books, posters, in unexpected places. And I realized I barely knew her story. I had reduced her to a runaway slave, a conductor on the Underground Railroad. But when I looked deeper, I saw a woman whose power transcended history. Harriett Tubman wasn't just a freedom fighter. She was an intuitive, a visionary. She saw beyond the physical, receiving guidance through visions and messages from her ancestors and angels, telling her to turn right and left so she was able to escape her captors. She didn't wait for permission to be free, but she decided it. She commanded it. And once she did, the universe conspired to support her. Despite the bounty on her head, despite the seizures from a brutal head injury inflicted by her master, despite her body legally not being her own, she pressed forward. She didn't eliminate her fears, but she simply refused to worship them. She funded her own escape, risked everything to free hundreds of others, and even led troops in the Civil War that some say she inspired. She fully stepped into her authentic power. And so can we. Baby step after baby step, choice after choice, mentor to mentor, pushing through panic attacks, rising from the ashes of anxiety and depression, brings me to you. Harriett Tubman had the same power of choice that I have and that you have. She chose to trust the unseen, to move even when the path wasn't clear, to be free not just in body, but in mind and spirit. Today I challenge you, don't wait until life pushes you to seek your freedom. Choose now. Seek your authenticity now. Walk boldly into who you are. Through the shame, through the mistakes, and through the doubt. In each decade of the United States, freedom has not been given to some, but rather having to be claimed. It is commanded. It is a birthright, and it is now. That's why I began the process of taking the last name Freedom, because it belongs to all of us, and no system, no title, no golden visa can put a price tag on the soul's right to be free. If you remember nothing else, remember this. You have the superpower of choice. In every conversation, in every relationship, in every moment, you are free to decide who and where you will be. And so it is.